A grand way to visit the Grand Canyon is the Grand Canyon Railroad Hotel and RV Park. Park your RV, drop off your pets, and ride the train. Come with us with our behind-the-scenes tour. Hey everyone, it's Timothy Douglas, Seymour Adventure Travel. I'm here with Alexander Anderson, and he is the
director.
What is your role here?
Yeah, so I'm the director of lodging here. So I oversee the hotel, RV park, and kennel.
Here at the Grand Canyon Railroad.
Correct.
And this is, do you also oversee the RV park, or is that somebody else who handles that?
I oversee the RV park as well as our kennel.
Yeah, because we're staying in the RV park ourselves. That's how we travel across country.
Nice.
So when you're getting me as a travel agent, you're actually getting somebody who travels. That's what we do. We go across the country. We're traveling and seeing things. So tell us about the hotel, a little bit of the history and everything that's going on here before we get the tour going.
Just kind of a brief overview of the company's history. Grand Canyon Railway started in 1901, running passenger service up to the Grand Canyon. A few years after that, they built their first Harvey house down here in Williams, which we'll actually go tour a little bit later on. That's the original Fray Marcos Hotel and Train Depot. Around the 70s, passenger service and freight service ended up for the canyon, so all of the buildings became vacant, and there was a kind of revival situation that was kind of happening among locals wanting the train to reactivate, and an investor by the name of Max Beeger actually was the one who kind of started it all, and he built this beautiful hotel here in Williams to kind of do away. Unfortunately, we can't use the original hotel just because it was turned into offices and isn't really viable for rooms anymore. So he built a hotel for his guests to be able to stay at. It's 298 rooms, has a selection of 4 different room types, including our standard queens, deluxe queens, suites, and then we have our Rail Baron suite, which we'll get to tour as well.
Very good, very good. And what other services do you provide for your guests while they're here?
While they're here, so we do have food service that is included in some of our packages over at our Fred Harvey restaurant, which is our buffet style. So we do breakfast and dinner there. We also have a bar, which is right behind you, which we can kind of take a sneak peek in a little bit later on, but that's Spencer's Pub, which that whole bar was kind of, the hotel was built around it. It's a beautiful bar on the inside, so there's some services there. We also, of course, have our train ride up to the Grand Canyon. We also have a boarding facility for pets, including cats and dogs, so we don't allow pets in our hotel rooms or on the train, so if you bring your furry friend, they can be comfortable in one of our kennels while you're out enjoying the scenery.
All right. So let's take a tour of this hotel.
Yeah, So this is our Rail Baron suite.
Okay.
And it was actually originally our owner suite. So Max and Thelma Beeger lived down in Scottsdale, and they needed a place to stay when they were up here. So they selected this as their kind of mini apartment that they had well up here. When they sold the company to Xanterra in 2000 Baron suite. There's several amenities through here. You get a full kitchen, king bed, full bath, living room, dining room. And one of the cool things about this suite is although you're seeing it now, in about 6 months it's going to be completely different. So 2025 is going to be our big project year. So all of our suites are getting redone, redesigned, so we're going through that design process now. Procurement will be next month, and then January and February will be install.
Okay, very good. So what we see right now, by the end of next year, we're going to be looking at something pretty significantly different.
Significantly different. I think this will be one of the biggest remodels for this room that we've ever had. So it's going to include kind of a new kitchen layout. There's going to be a whole new design for the fireplace and the kind of coves there.
Just kind of updating everything.
Updating it, making it more modern, and making it more comfortable. And then also tying in a few more train elements into the room. Tastefully, not so it's overbearing, but
yeah.
You know, when you stay in one of our hotel rooms, we want you to feel like you're staying in a hotel that is kind of driven by the train. All right, so this is our suites, or one of our suites. There's a total of 10 of them in the hotel. This is another room that is going to look completely different in about 6 months. It's not going to have as much of a radical redesign as far as layout goes, but as far as design elements with furniture, wall coverings, flooring, that's all going to change. Tie in a few more train aspects and kind of go through there. The cool thing about this room is it does sleep 7, so we have 2 queen beds in our bedroom. The couch right behind you there is a pull-out queen couch, and we can fit a roll-away bed in here as well. So this room is very popular during Polar Express for the larger families, and they book up pretty immediately.
So this is one of those that if you are looking at Polar Express, if you're considering doing the Polar Express experience, which we'll talk about a little bit more later, you want to get this booked pretty early.
Yeah, you want to book these rooms relatively early. If you're looking for dates kind of middle of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you're a little bit more protected. But if you're looking anywhere close to like weekends or anything like that, you're going to definitely want to book these rooms pretty quickly. I believe all of our December weekends, these rooms are already sold. So November, there's still a few dates left, but December, most of these are sold out.
So the suite then gives you then access also to a little bit of a kitchenette here as well.
Yeah, a little bit of a kitchenette.
And essentially a double vanity configuration, which is great for families then.
Oh yeah, because if someone's taking a shower and you want to brush your teeth, perfect for
They have
larger
their own out
families
here,
separating
so that
out.
way you can do that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Just so you kind of all know, for the redesign, we're going with a little bit more of an Art Deco kind of roaring 20s feel. We are in the 20s again, so it's kind of nice to tie that in as well. But that's you'll see when you ride the train, there's a lot of elements of Art Deco in there, and so that's how we're kind of tying it in.
Very good. So it's a lot of it. So this is then the deluxe.
Yeah, deluxe room. So it's got the bigger mattress, the larger TV, microwave in the room. There's a few more amenities that you'll find in the bathroom, so lotions and things like that that you can take with you, opposed to the stuff that's mounted on the wall. And overall, I like these rooms because they have a little bit more of just a plush feel from the floor-to-ceiling curtains, the color of the room. It just feels a little bit more warm.
It just has more of a big feel.
Yeah, it does. And that's something that we're trying to keep throughout all of our design is having the rooms feel big, all the amenities that a guest is going to want while they stay with us.
Is this one also going to be undergoing a redo here, or is this one that's going to be a couple years down the road?
A couple years down the road. I would say about 2 or 3 years, depending on kind of how the process goes. But you know, the last refresh, whoever came up with the furniture choices, the colors and everything, it holds up incredibly well. So these rooms I still think are pretty incredibly modern, comfortable to stay in, and something that feels new while, you know, being an older design. So.
And so you said there's a few more amenities then as far as the bathroom is concerned?
Yeah, so that's correct. So, you know, you get your bar of soap and lotion, and then you just get scales inside the room, which there's one tucked underneath here.
We're on vacation. We don't need scales.
No, but people ask for them for some reason. We do get some requests, so I don't understand it. But if that's your thing, you can go with it as well. But,
I suppose. But all right, thank you.
This room is going to be one of our standard queen rooms. Sleeps 5 people, so we can fit a rollaway in here. We do have adjoining rooms with both the standards and the deluxes. One of the main differences between a standard room and a deluxe room is going to be mattress size. So the mattresses are still queen, but our deluxes have a 12-inch double pillow top, where these are just kind of a standard 12-inch mattress. So I consider the DQ2s to be a little bit more comfortable, but a little bit more softer. If you have guests that like a little bit more of a harder bed or so on, I would suggest one of the standard rooms because they don't have as much give. They're still relatively comfortable, kind of middle of the range, but they are a little bit more
Do you have an option for like hard rock for what like we usually enjoy? Or are you just pretty much this, or you get your pillow top?
We pretty much put it right in the middle for both of them, try to make it easier and accommodate everyone. So we try to do that as well. One of the other differences is the standards do not come with a microwave, and they come with a smaller TV. So it's a 43-inch TV, where the deluxe rooms come with a 52-inch TV or somewhere around there.
So this is a standard versus the deluxe.
Yeah, standard during deluxe. This one is a relatively new design, and it will probably be refreshed in about 2 or 3 years. So it still has a decent amount of life in it. But yeah, kind of cool design, a little bit of the woodsy feel. I love the red coloring in here, so it definitely adds a little bit more.
I love the look of this.
They bought it from an antique shop in New Orleans.
So this is actually something that is old. It wasn't just rebuilt to look like it was old.
No, it was not rebuilt. It was actually crafted. We always have one of these out and available, but it was actually crafted in 1887 for the Lion's Den, which is a pub over in England. I don't know what originally got them to move it out of England, but it ended up in an antique shop in New Orleans, and Max and Thelma bought it and put it here in the hotel, and pretty much quite literally built the whole hotel around it. There's actually a story that there's a hidden compartment in it with some jewels or something that's protected from it. We've never found a hidden compartment, but they also say it's haunted, so maybe it's not best to mess with it or anything like that.
Very good. So this is just kind of a place for people to come and relax, get cocktails at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And what are the hours of the
So it is seasonal hours. It always opens at 4 o'clock. During Polar Express, we stay open a little bit later to 11 o'clock, 11:30, where normal hours is probably going to be about 10 o'clock is when we close down. So it is open pretty late. And although the bar is the favorite of most people here at the Railway, my favorite one is actually the painting that's right behind you, which is called The Trip. Painted by an artist out of, I believe, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Kenny McKenna, if I remember his name correctly. And it's just an absolute gorgeous painting, and all of his artwork is in our lobby, so all of the pictures of the Grand Canyon is what you see in and around the lobby, but, you know, that's my favorite piece that he made.
Now, I notice you have the Santa Fe room just across the way. So you're able to do conferences?
Yeah, we are able to do conferences. That's one of 2 rooms. We actually have another room called the Grand Canyon room, and there are 2 conference rooms that are available for rental.
And if somebody was looking at maybe a larger group conference type thing, what would the capacity be?
Capacities are probably going to be about 60 people sitting and then about 80 people standing. So that's kind of our limit on there, but you can definitely contact our group sales coordinators for all of those information, and I can give you the contact information.
And what are some of your smaller group opportunities that people like to utilize here?
Yeah, so we definitely utilize kind of the tour bus travel type situations, or Smurf groups, which come in, spend a night, take the train up to the canyon, take it back, and then they go on a tour bus to their next tour, whether that be Sedona, Las Vegas, Zion, North Rim of the Grand Canyon.
That's actually how I discovered you guys, is through one of my other suppliers, and they talked about the Grand Canyon Railroad as a part of what they're doing, as one of the rail experience rides that we have that are available. And so there's a tour bus then from the Amtrak train that brings people here, and then you're getting on a classic train going up to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, and one of the really cool things about being here in northern Arizona and then so close to Utah, Colorado, and Nevada is us as the kind of 3 states right here are really heavily in the tourist rail industry. So in Colorado, you have, you know, Durango Silverton, you have Royal Gorge, and then in Nevada, you have the Nevada State Railroad Museum. And so you have all of these kind of classic train tourist railroads all in one area, so you can kind of do a tour of what each one was like, because they were all run by different companies. So we were originally the Santa Fe Railroad, Durango Silverton was originally part of the Rio Grande, and Nevada was the Nevada Northern Railroad, but all of them operated a little bit differently. They all had their different corks, and so that's kind of cool. You get to come and visit a little piece of history. And then you can also do a national park tour at the same time. So you can do Zion, you can do Bryce, you can do North Rim, South Rim, you can do Oasis at Death Valley, which is another one of our properties that is absolutely gorgeous. You can play 18 rounds of golf in 120-degree heat. Not necessarily my cup of tea, but I'll go do it during
that one myself.
I'll do it in December when it's a little bit cooler, but it's a gorgeous property.
And families, extended families, what do you have as far as any kind of offers? If there's like a large family group, what are the opportunities that you have here in this facility?
So for large family gatherings, so we have done quite a few very significant birthdays for people through. So, whether it's, 30s, 40s, 50s, kind of those hallmark birthdays. We also do quite a few wedding anniversaries through here where it's large group business coming in. They rent out a meeting room or a dining room, and then they can even book a private train car up to the Grand Canyon through our Rail Baron process. So we have a select number of private train cars that you can completely book out, and you can have your own private car up to the canyon on one of our regularly scheduled trains. Or if you really wanted to take control and shell out some buku bucks, you could go ahead and actually rent an entire train, and it could be totally on your own schedule. And that includes being able to rent out one of our steam engines, which would take you up and back with like a 2 or 3 car contest that goes up there. So it's very cool when it happens. It's a lot of fun. It makes a huge statement.
Very good. So we're in the gift shop. Ticket center? Well,
yeah,
here.
So this is the original historic depot. So a large amount of it is still ticket office and prep for the train. So that happens right behind me here, where our guests pick up train tickets in the morning or in the afternoon. If they get here a day early, they can pick up tickets the morning before or the afternoon before their train ride. So this is kind of where all the magic happens, where our train seating happens, where we organize what cars are going to be on for the day. And then what's kind of happening out and around is going to be our gift shop. So we can kind of do a quick tour of that. There's a few rooms that I like to touch on when I do a tour through here that I think's pretty interesting historical-wise.
Sounds great.
So we've kind of stepped through the threshold of what the old depot was, and now we're actually in the old section of the Fray Marcos Hotel, which was the original Harvey house here. And this would have been the Native American room. So it was once filled with a whole bunch of Native American artwork, including rugs, pottery, jewelry. And one of the really cool pieces is the original fireplace that we actually got to restore. So we cleaned it out, did all the flue work, and now it runs off gas opposed to wood, so it's pretty easy on maintenance. But really cool room. There would have been wood benches all the way along. And you can, if you have a little bit of a history buff, just Google Fray Marcos Hotel on the Library of Congress, and you'll pull up hundreds of old photos.
We'll have to
of
pull
this
some
building.
photos and put it in our video.
Yeah, very interesting. So this would have been the original lobby for the Fray Marcos Hotel. So kind of right behind me here would have been the front desk, and then those double doors leading into there would have been the main dining room for dinner and breakfast, and then a lunchroom would have been just off to your left, which is going to be our current Polar room. So that's during Polar Express when we have story time with Mrs. Claus, photos with Santa, and other small events kind of going on in there. And then we have our main staircase that goes into where the old hotel rooms would have been. Most of them are offices and storages now, but it's kind of fun piecing through all of the old photographs and figuring out what room was which from it. So, yeah.
And this building was built in 1907.
Yeah, 1907 was the original construction of the building. They added on a wing to the building that kind of shoots out back later in the year. I want to say 1920s, 1930s is when that later construction happened, but this would have been the original part. And if we go out here onto the historic platform, we can actually get a good photo of how big the building is and kind of the grandeur of it. So yeah, this is the historic platform and train depot, as well as the Fred Harvey house. You'll kind of look left to right, and you'll start to see the main restaurant. The rooms are on the top floor, and then as you pan out to the right, you'll see the original depot. Right behind us is the tracks that carry our train up to the Grand Canyon. And then the tracks right across the way there are BNSF. So the predecessor to the Santa Fe Railroad actually still operates on tracks that would have come through here. So nice connection to history, and good to see it's still in operation. So this is our Fred Harvey restaurant. It's a buffet that's open for breakfast and dinner. What's kind of unique about it is the majority of the recipes that we have for our food service are Fred Harvey inspired, so they all come from old Fred Harvey Company recipes. And we have an excellent omelet station in the morning, pasta station in the afternoon. We also have a carving station that's open that serves a variety of different selected meats throughout the seasonal process. So it could be anything from tenderloin to turkey to pork, pretty much whatever we might have on the carving board for that day.
So basically you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
No lunch.
No lunch. So it's breakfast and dinner is
yeah.
what is served here. And is this a separate price, or is this included as far as the stay with the hotel?
So it is a separate price, but however, it can be purchased through our packages. So if you purchase a select package that has the train ride tours, it can also include meals in it automatically, or it can be an add-on feature later on. But
okay.
For a la carte rooms, it is an add-on price, but it can be booked in our packages.
All right.
Santa Fe caboose and our Shea locomotive, which is the steam engine that's in front of the hotel, they're all part of a collection of old historical equipment run by the Railroad Museum that's trying to get started here in Williams, Arizona. And Al Richmond is the Grand Canyon Railway historian per se, who was here right from the start. And so part of the parting gift of Max and Thelma was a plot of land and a little bit of money to start buying some equipment. Well, until the museum gets set up, a lot of the pieces are on loan to us for display purposes. So the Santa Fe caboose is here, and the Shea locomotive in front of the hotel was brought in actually on this rail. And what they did is they disconnected the rail, pulled it out across the parking lot and over there. We did that all in one day, in between our regular passenger service up to the Grand Canyon. And our maintenance of way crew did it mostly all by hand, besides cutting pieces of rail. They had to use a saw, but they hammered in all the spikes themselves and pulled the rail all over. So it was like watching an old gang build the track.
Doing the whole crowbars and
yeah,
moving those up.
I think the old term was like Gandhi dancers.
Yeah,
but
Gandhi dancers.
The cool thing about our guys is they still kind of like the old way. So although we have pneumatic tools to do a lot of the processes and everything, a lot of them still hit in all the spikes by hand and realign the track by hand. So there's some really hard-working people that help make sure that the train is safe to go up to the canyon every day on our track, and they take excellent care of it. And some of them just blow me away. I mean, I wouldn't be able to hit in a spike in less than 3 hits, and yeah, every single one of them can. So
Yeah.
So this is our Wild West Show arena. They do a show every single morning, and then they kind of tie it in later on the end of the train ride, which you guys will get to experience tomorrow. So I won't spoil any endings, but you can add that a part of your trip a little bit later on tomorrow when you come back from the canyon. Also, during the summer months, they do a street shootout actually in downtown Williams, as well as kind of an extension upon the normal story. So they do that from between Memorial Day and Labor Day.
So summertime would be a good time to actually come up here because of the different things that are also happening in Williams.
Yeah, I would say kind of like later July is really kind of nice because it starts slowing down because most of the families have done their vacation. They're starting to get prepped for school again. So that's really where the kids kind of start to dissipate a little bit, and it gets a little bit slower here. You still have a good mixture of families and diversity in here, but it just slows down just a little bit. If you're really wanting to come during like the off season, which I actually prefer because you get to experience a whole lot more, it's a little less crowded. The best times to do it is actually August, September, and then February, March, and April are kind of our slower periods of time, so you can kind of get more fulfilled without having a crowd of people to work around as well. But I mean, it kind of depends on when it's open to you and when you want to travel. There's not really a bad time of season throughout northern Arizona, and that's the cool thing about Arizona is you can go down to Phoenix and enjoy nice weather in the winter, come up to Flagstaff and Williams and experience the snow. And if you've never seen the Grand Canyon with snow, I would highly recommend it. It's one of the most beautiful times.
Going up?
Yeah. So this is the luxury parlor. This is your view if you get to stand out on the back going down the tracks. It's one of my favorite ones. So especially when we have our little bit slower days where we don't have as many people on the train, this is definitely where I like to hang out. Inside the car is kind of a Victorian style seating arrangement with couches.
Can't be on the train yet. Oh. Alex, you gotta tell me when somebody's bringing somebody on, not kick them off.
The chain's up, so you're good.
I know, but not everybody understands
Yeah.
that the people are coming on their employees.
Yeah. So yeah, this car is actually the newest refreshed car, so it's been in our fleet for a while, but we just redid all of the carpet, upholstery, woodwork, sanded it all down, refreshed it all. So this car is pretty much brand new.
And restrooms. Oh wow. The restrooms are very nice.
Yes. It's not an airplane restroom by any means.
Yeah.
No, it's actually the nicest one on the train.
Well, sure it is because it's the nicest car.
So one of the other cool things I like about it is all of the historic photos that we have in here. So we have some Fred Harvey images over there. We also have some of our track crew that's replacing a section of rail right there, so you can kind of get a picture of what that's like. And then some images of the loco shop and some of our historic locomotives.
So in addition to the very nice setting here and the fact that you get to get out on the rear platform, what else is included as far as amenities with this car?
Yeah, so we have a snack buffet on the way up and on the way back, so it's all going to be cold food. It's not going to be hot food, but on the way up it's going to be like danishes, muffins, fresh fruit, things like that. On the way back it's going to be cheese, crackers, hummus, and a few selections of like some charcuterie items. We also have a full bar on board the train, so that's right behind you there. So we have a bartender on each one of these train cars that not only will serve you a drink but tell you a little bit of history and kind of entertain you on your way up to the canyon. We also have musicians that roam through on the train as well as our marshal. So that little Cowboy Show, there's always one of them on the train as well protecting it. And then we also, like I said, have musicians on there, and they come through and serenade our passengers as we go up to the canyon.
Oh.
So this one's actually really interesting. This is a Miller's washout. So water filled one of the washes and washed out a piece of track, and the train actually went over the side. That was very early on in the days before things like the Federal Railroad Administration that dictated rules and stuff and regulations. So we now have regular track inspectors. Things are a lot safer, and we haven't had an issue like that since. But kind of cool seeing that back in the day, how they would fix all of that and do it as quickly as possible, because without trains running, you weren't making money. Watch your head, the ceilings are a little short. So this is going to be our luxury dome car, And so this is kind of the same class of service as Luxury Parlor. So Luxury Parlor people can come up and enjoy the unticketed seats up here. And same thing for the guests. They can go down and enjoy the back platform. But this is actually one of my favorite cars on the train. This was one of the last fully refurbed cars that came into service while I worked here. It took about $1.3 million, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure how many man hours, but this car was completely gutted down to bare metal. There was no insulation, there was no nothing, and no electrical, and our shop redid the entire car. So new air conditioning, all electrical, all of the paint, upholstery, all of the woodwork through the car. So this is one of the biggest refurb projects we've had in our fleet, and it's absolutely gorgeous. This car also has a sister car called the Fred Harvey. That's a dumb car as well. So when we run two trains, we pretty much have an exact copy.
Very good.
You're making me want to upgrade our tickets.
Yeah, we got the first class.
And then I'll show the little downstairs seating area. So this area is totally unticketed. We don't sell tickets for downstairs. This is for guests that want to come down, hang out a little bit. If they want to get out of the sun a little bit, since it is a dome car, there is some sun that kind of shines down on you. So this is kind of a nice quiet place to relax if you want to get away after spending a day at the canyon and want some peace and quiet. But yeah, we don't ticket this area. It's open for any of the guests that purchase a luxury ticket. I like down here. If I ever owned one of these cars privately, I would turn it into a house.
Yeah.
Hello. Hi, Alex. Hello. How are you? Hello.
So this car is one that actually rarely ever gets used, so it's kind of unique that it's on the train. This is another Luxury Parlor car, except it doesn't have the rear platform on the back. This is one of the cars that you could select doing our RBC program, so if you were to do a private rental up to the canyon. This car is just absolutely gorgeous. I love every little bit of it. We also decorate it for Christmas, and this actually gets put on our Polar Express train for an ultimate polar experience where you can rent a private car for you and your family to go up to the North Pole. Santa spends the entire way back in here hanging out with the kids, reading the book, interacting with the family, and it's absolutely a magical experience, and it's kind of like having Christmas in your living room a little bit, but Santa's actually there and you're on a train.
So you can book this entire car for your extended family for a very incredible Christmas experience.
Yes, you can, and it's absolutely amazing. Last year we did, I want to say, about 15 of those excursions in this car. So it's very popular. It's a new addition that we've had on recently, and it's just taken off like wildfire. So just to go through, we have about 107,000 people go through Polar Express in our 7 weeks, and only a select few get to do these cars. So definitely interested in booking. There are still open dates available throughout the majority of the year right now. So
Contact me on that one.
yeah, it's absolutely amazing. So yeah.
So we picked a good day to come and do the tour then.
Yeah. So one thing I do like to mention during these tours is ADA accessibility. And although we try to help our guests in any needs that they may have, there are certain cars that just because of their historical nature, they aren't necessarily ADA accessible. But we do have 2 select classes of service that are completely ADA accessible and do allow people who may be wheelchair bound or may need to stay with their assisted equipment while on their train journey, and this is one of those cars. So this is first class and coach are ADA accessible. We have a storage area for any equipment that guests may need to bring on board. If somebody is traveling with any special needs, whether it be big or small, we definitely suggest that whether you book your tickets online, over the phone, you contact us a few days ahead of time and make any requests, so then that way we're well prepared for your arrival and try to take the best care of you as possible. With more notice, we can usually do more things.
Yeah. So I see you have the rack up where people can put luggage. What sort of services are available up actually at the rim?
Yeah, so these luggage racks are mostly going to be for your carry-ons, backpacks, small coolers, any kind of small items. Any big pieces of luggage for guests staying up at the Grand Canyon, we actually have a service where we will take your luggage from the hotel here in Williams, take it up to the Grand Canyon. If it's in one of our hotels, so any of the original Fred Harvey, so Maswick Lodge, Bright Angel, Yavapai, Thunderbird, or the famous Altivar, we'll actually put the bags in your room so they're already prepped and ready to go when you get there. And then when you leave the national park, luggage comes back down here to Williams, and it's either ready on the platform for you to pick up if you're not spending the night again with us, or we'll have it in your room here in the hotel as well.
So other than your personal items, you don't need to be carrying anything on. You don't have to be just lugging stuff around. If you want to do a couple nights down here and explore Williams and then do a couple nights up at the Grand Canyon, you can do all of that and not have to worry about carrying all your luggage around.
Yeah, so the only thing that I suggest bringing on the train is essentials, so definitely water, camera, any entertainment
Definitely
things
camera.
if you got kids, any medical equipment you may need with you while you're on the train, jackets and things like that. One thing with northern Arizona is as we get closer into the winter season, it's going to be colder in the afternoon and warmer in the, or it's going to be colder in the morning and warmer in the afternoon, so definitely suggest dressing in layers is kind of the best way to explore northern Arizona.
Very good.
What class is this asking?
First class.
This is first class. I mentioned that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to hit a little bit of a crowd, but we'll try to ferry through them.
So this is what we're in right now.
Morning, folks. How are we doing? Pretty good, thanks. Good. We're going to sneak in behind you.
Walk until you see the staircase right on up to the building.
So this is another first class car. So all of our cars are a little unique and a little different. This car has an observation dome, which is a separate class of service.
I don't know which way it's going. Well, I think it's that way it's going.
Forward is going to be that way.
Okay, back to where we go then. Sorry, I can't travel backwards, it makes me sick.
No worries, I understand.
We don't need that.
Sorry, Steve, that's no problem. Now, just to be sure, change again, shall we?
So I'll let you folks kind of take a quick peek up there, but that's going to be our deluxe observation dome, so that's a separate class of service to first class. Again, there is a bar in each of our first class and deluxe observation dome cars, as well as our luxury cars. So oddly enough, this became one of my favorite cars. When I first got hired here at the railway, I worked this car like 29 days straight during one summer. And So this is our cafe car. So this car is open for the entire train, but it's mostly utilized by our Pullman and coach passengers. They can select from beer, wine, chips, snacks, soda, ice cream, peanuts, all sorts of items.
Good, how are you? I was just thinking about you.
Hey,
I did tell you I found a wedding dress and we're going to have to go to California to go get it. And so we're going to have a day trip to Disneyland too.
Nice.
Just so you know.
Sounds like a good trip.
Yeah, you're not Megan's your boy, but we're still friends.
Glad we're still friends at least.
We'll be here if you can.
Yeah, 6 and 7 show. Kind of block. Like 5.
So this is probably going to be the last car we can film in, but it's we'll have to skip the coach class. So if you guys tomorrow want to walk through, you're more than welcome to take a look. But this is going to be our 1923 Pullman car. So this car is a little over 100 years old. And some interesting things about it is it was such a lightweight car back in the day that there's actually 2 inches of concrete in the floor to act as balance. So then that way the car is more stable on the track and it weighs more so it doesn't feel as jostly back and forth. It's the only train car that has open air windows so you get to enjoy the fresh air. I highly suggest taking this train car if you are on any of our steam excursions. We run steam the first Saturday of every month between February and October. We also have a few select dates like Earth Day, our 4960, which is one of our steam engines operational anniversary, which is in August, and then we also have our operational anniversary, which is September 17th every single year. So definitely take a look at our Steam Saturday calendar and see when we're running Steam and book this car. And book this car early because it fills up on those Steam Saturdays.
So why is it that you like it for the steam?
You can hear it. So in all the other cars, it's sealed, air conditioned. You can still tell that it's being run by a steam engine. It operates just a little bit differently, but it's got to be a little bit more discerned. So if you're really kind of the rail fan that knows how a steam engine operates, you'll feel it in the other cars. But if this is your first time experiencing steam, you definitely want to go in this car. You can look out the window, you can see the steam shooting out the side, you can hear the whistle, you can hear the bell.
So you get the full steam experience.
The full steam experience.
All right, so this was our tour. This is a great train, folks. I can't wait to go. We're heading out tomorrow. We're seriously thinking about upgrading our class now that we've seen that luxury. We may do half and half or something. We'll split that.
Yeah. If you do a luxury class of service or even an observation class of service, I suggest doing it in the afternoon if you don't do it round trip. So book coach or first class going up and then do luxury or observation coming back. That way you can kind of experience the majority of what the train's going to be like.
Now, what other kind of tips and things that would you suggest if somebody's coming here to enjoy this experience that maybe people won't think about right off the top of their head?
Yeah, so I would definitely consider weather being a main part of it. So I really, for example, like the Pullman cars during the early spring or kind of later into the fall. You get a nice breath of fresh air. It's not warm, but it's not cold. If you're a little bit colder, you're going to definitely want to, if it's a little bit colder outside, you're definitely going to want to book one of our first class or even coach cars, so then that way you get a good experience.
More of a climate control.
Yeah, more of climate control and just a good variety. I highly suggest coming here during the winter months when there's snow on the ground. I know it's kind of hard getting out here with snow being on the highway and such, but the canyon is absolutely gorgeous and not many people get to experience during that time. And the cool thing about the Grand Canyon is it changes every 5 minutes. So you can be literally looking at it, a cloud passes over, the shadows are different. It's like you're standing in a completely different space. So it's really unique that way. I highly suggest booking certain classes of service a little bit more ahead of time. So our Luxury Dome, Luxury Parlor, and Pullman cars have the fewest seats on the train, so they sell out the quickest. So if those are the classes of service that you want to do, highly suggest booking them early. Lastly, if you have any special needs, such as assistance getting on and off the train, or have any assisted devices, whether it be wheelchairs, walkers, or canes, please let us know ahead of time so we can prep our crew to better assist you.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Alexander.
Yeah, no
this
problem.
has been
It was
a
nice
great
to meet
tour.
you.
And folks, contact us. We can get you on this train. We can get you a wonderful Grand Canyon experience.